She was my best friend. At least I thought she was. We met in high school, two girls clinging to each other in a sea of teenage chaos. I remember the first time I saw her. Red hair in a messy bun, biting the end of her pen like it held the answer to the universe. Her name was Emily. Mine is Claire. We clicked instantly, as if the universe had tied our fates together with an invisible thread. We finished each other's sentences, slept over every weekend, called each other soul sisters. We weren't the popular girls. Not the ones with glossed lips and effortless laughter. We were the ones who laughed too loudly, danced to music no one else liked, and built dream boards out of magazine cutouts. Emily wanted to move to New York and work in fashion. I wanted to write books that made people feel less alone. We shared everything. Secrets, Spotify playlists, heartbreaks over boys who didn't text back. And when college came, we chose the same university. Different majors but one dorm, one room, one world. That's where I met Daniel. He wasn't the kind of guy you fall for at first glance. Not flashy, not arrogant. He had this quiet intensity, the kind of presence that made you feel seen. Really seen. We met at a campus poetry night. I read something I'd scribbled in a fit of insomnia. It was messy, raw. And after, he came up and said, "Your words felt like my thoughts, only better." We talked for hours that night. And the next. And the next. Emily was thrilled for me. First. She teased me, called him Mr. Broody, said I was glowing. She helped me pick out outfits for our dates, helped me pick birthday gifts for him. And I, blinded by joy, never questioned her motives. Why would I? She was my person. She watched us fall in love. She was there when we said, "I love you" for the first time. She cried with me when Daniel surprised me with a weekend trip to the coast. She was always there. But then small things started to feel off. I'd find her in the kitchen late at night, whispering on the phone and laughing softly, her back turned. When I asked who it was, she'd say, "Just an old friend," and change the subject. Sometimes she'd wear lipstick to the library, something she never used to do, or casually mention things Daniel had told her, things I didn't know he'd shared. I remember one evening we were all watching a movie. I got up to grab popcorn, and when I came back, she was curled up next to him on the couch. Not touching, not quite, but close enough that my stomach twisted. Daniel shifted when I sat back down, as if realizing the space between them had vanished. I brushed it off, told myself I was being paranoid, that I was tired, that Emily would never. But doubts once planted grow like weeds. One night I came home early from class. Our apartment was dark, silent. I opened the door to the living room and froze. Daniel was there. Alone. Or so I thought. He jumped when he saw me. "Hey," he said too quickly. "Emily just left. She was helping me fix the Wi-Fi." Fix the Wi-Fi. At 9 p.m. In a room lit only by candlelight? The air felt strange. Heavy. I felt it settle into my bones. I didn't ask questions. I just nodded and walked past him. But I heard it. A second wine glass clinking in the sink. That night I couldn't sleep. My mind spun in circles. Every moment, every laugh, every inside joke between the two of them took on new meaning. I remembered the way she hugged him at my birthday party. Longer than usual. The way he looked at her when he thought I wasn't watching. Still I said nothing. I wanted to believe in the story we'd all written together. Best friends and true love and late-night talks. I didn't want to rewrite it into something uglier, something more real. But the truth, I'd soon learn, doesn't care about the stories we tell ourselves. It waits, patient and cruel, in the silence between footsteps, in the flash of a text on a locked screen, in the way two people avoid your eyes when they speak. And the truth was coming for me. They say betrayal doesn't come from enemies. And now I know why. A week passed after that night with the wine glass. I couldn't shake the feeling. So I did the one thing I told myself I'd never do. I checked Daniel's phone. It was 2 a.m. He was asleep, face relaxed, mouth slightly open. My chest hurt just looking at him. I held my breath, typed in his passcode, the one he used for everything. And there it was. Hundreds of messages. From her. Emily. "I miss you when she's around." Daniel. "We need to stop. I can't keep lying to her." Emily. "Then don't. She'll get over it. You and I were always real." I couldn't breathe. I scrolled and scrolled, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Pictures. secret meetups. Whispered I love you's not meant for me. And then I found it, a video. Laughter. Her voice. His voice. Their shadows tangled together on a hotel bed I didn't recognize. I dropped the phone. My vision blurred. I ran to the bathroom and threw up everything I had in me. He didn't wake up. Not then. I packed a bag. I left without a sound. I walked for 2 hours in the freezing night, trying to remember when exactly the world had turned upside down. The next day I confronted her. I stood outside her apartment. My hands clenched. She opened the door with a smile that died the second she saw my face. You knew, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. You knew what you were doing. Her eyes widened. Claire. How long? I asked. How long have you been sleeping with him? She looked down. And that was answer enough. I didn't mean for it to happen, she whispered. You didn't mean to lie to my face for months? You didn't mean to take the one person I trusted? The one thing that mattered. Tears welled in her eyes. But they didn't move me. Not anymore. He was unhappy, she said. With you. You always shut him out, you. No, I snapped. You don't get to turn this around. You don't get to make my heartbreak my fault. She reached for me. I stepped back. You were my sister, I said. And you killed that. She didn't speak. Her silence was louder than any apology. As I turned to leave, she called after me, voice cracking. Claire. I love him. That was the final knife. I didn't look back. Daniel tried to call. Once. Then twice. Then 100 times. I blocked him. I didn't want to hear his voice. Didn't want to listen to whatever rehearsed sorrow he had to offer. But he showed up days later. He stood on my doorstep like a ghost. Hollow-eyed. Pale. Please, he said. Please just talk to me. I stared at him. The man I had loved. The man I thought I'd build a life with. He looked smaller now. Not just physically. Spiritually. Like someone who'd gambled everything and lost. What do you want me to say, Daniel? I asked. That I understand. That I forgive you. He looked away. She meant nothing, he muttered. Don't, I said coldly. Don't you dare insult me and her at the same time. She was my best friend. And you were everything. I paused. No. You were supposed to be everything. He didn't cry. Neither did I. Some wounds are too deep for tears. He left. And just like that, 10 years of friendship and nearly 3 of love disintegrated into dust. Healing doesn't come like a storm. It comes like a drizzle, quiet, reluctant, intermittent. It doesn't sweep you up and make you whole again. Trickles. It drips through the cracks. And sometimes it stops altogether just to remind you that you're still bleeding. The first few weeks after everything shattered were unbearable. I'd wake up and forget for half a second that it was real. That they had done this. That the people I loved most had carved a hole inside me. Smiling while they did it. Then the truth would come flooding back, cold and suffocating. I moved out of our shared apartment. I couldn't stay. The walls remembered too much. Every corner echoed with laughter that no longer belonged to me. I found a small studio across town. No view, creaky floors, a window that didn't quite shut right. But it was mine. And I needed something that hadn't been touched by their hands. I didn't cry every day. Not at first. I was numb. Hollow. Grief is strange that way, it comes later when you least expect it. I'd be fine for hours and then a smell would hit me. His cologne on someone else in the grocery store, her shampoo in the air at the salon, and I'd fall apart in the middle of my day like a marionette with cut strings. I started therapy. I told the woman sitting across from me in soft beige sweaters and calm, practiced tones that I was fine. That I was just trying to understand. She nodded. She always nodded. And then one day I said it out loud. They betrayed me. Both of them. And I didn't see it coming. My voice cracked. And I broke. Right there in her office like a dam finally giving in. I sobbed until I couldn't breathe, until I felt like a stranger in my own skin. She handed me tissues. And still nodded. But it helped. Not all at once. Not in big cinematic ways. But slowly, piece by piece, I started to feel human again. I stopped checking their profiles. I muted their names, blocked numbers, deleted old photos. Not out of hate. Out of survival. Out of the desperate need to protect the fragile beginnings of peace blooming inside me. I started journaling again, writing one sentence a day. Some days it was nothing more than, "I'm still here." Other days it was angry poetry or broken dialogue I imagined saying to them if they ever crossed my path again. I walked. A lot. Just wandered with no destination. Headphones in, the world rushing past me. I watched strangers hold hands and wondered if they knew what a risk they were taking, letting someone so close. One afternoon, I found myself standing outside a bookstore. I hadn't been inside one since before it happened. I walked in. The smell hit me like a wave of comfort. Old pages, ink, possibility. I picked up a novel from a table, one I'd been meaning to read for years, and sat in the corner, letting someone else's pain, someone else's world, hold me for a while. That was the first day I felt like I might make it. Months passed. Seasons changed. And so did I. I started writing again, not just journals but essays, blog posts, little fictional snippets that bled with truth. People started reading them, messaging me, saying, "I've been through this. Thank you." It was strange. My deepest pain suddenly a bridge to others. Suddenly meaningful. One day out of nowhere, Emily messaged me. Just one line. "I think about what I did every day. I'm sorry." I stared at it for a long time. I didn't reply. What do you say to the person who stabbed you with the knife you handed them? A week later I saw her. At a bookstore of all places. She was with someone else. Not Daniel. Her hair was longer. She looked thinner. She saw me, froze. I saw something in her eyes, not just guilt but weariness. We didn't speak. But as I walked past, she whispered, "You didn't deserve it." I stopped, looked at her, and for the first time in months I felt nothing. No rage. No ache. Just release. "I know," I said softly, and walked away. Forgiveness didn't come in that moment. It didn't come at all, really. But peace did. And that was enough. Daniel? I heard he moved to another city. A mutual friend told me their relationship fell apart after a year. Said it was messy, full of jealousy and mistrust. I didn't feel joy at that. Just sadness. Because when you build something on broken trust, it can't stand. It crumbles under its own weight. Eventually, I started dating again. Slowly. Carefully. The first few were awkward. I couldn't stop analyzing everything they said, watching for cracks. But one day I met someone different. His name was James. He was quiet, kind, and patient. On our fourth date, we sat watching the rain hit the window of a tiny coffee shop, and he asked, "What's the hardest thing you've ever survived?" I hesitated, then told him everything. He didn't flinch. He just reached for my hand and said, "You're stronger than most people I know." I didn't fall in love with him right away. I didn't rush. But I let the idea of love back into my life, not because I trusted again but because I trusted myself. And that changed everything. Now years later I look back and still ache sometimes. But the pain doesn't own me. It walks beside me like an old shadow, reminding me where I've been, but not deciding where I'll go. I think of Emily sometimes. Of Daniel. Of the younger version of me who didn't see the blade coming. I love her. I grieve her. But I'm not her anymore. I am someone new. Someone wiser. Someone who can say this now with a clear heart. If someone betrays you, that is their shame. But if you rise from it, that is your power. So if you're sitting in the ashes of a life that used to feel whole, I want you to hear this. You are not broken. You are becoming.